Hello, hello. Welcome to another
Hello.
episode of Dear Work Wives. Welcome, Emily.
Welcome, Adrian.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Me too. Me too. It sounded so
Me
enthusiastic. Yeah,
too. Kids back in school.
they are. They are back in school. Today is only day one, but it's already amazing.
That's great.
It's so quiet in here. I love it. Lila was like, "I'm gonna miss you." I'm like, "Man, bye. I'll see you in 6 hours." Like,
yeah, it's not that long. Not
yeah,
long enough, honestly.
yeah, yeah. But it's great.
But she looked cute.
I know she's growing very quickly and
She's a
maturing.
fashionista.
She is. That's what she wants to be, as a fashion designer. She said that for the past 4 years in her little chalkboard sign. So
Aww.
she loves fashion. So
Have we discussed Halloween costumes yet?
me, James, and our two friends, Ruthie and Joe, we're gonna go as the Ninja Turtles because they have a baby and the baby's gonna be Splinter.
Oh my God, cute.
Yeah, and we thought also Ghostbusters and the baby could be Slimer, but because there's a new Ninja Turtles movie that came out, I think it'll be an easier costume to do this year.
Yeah, yeah.
My
What the
children
baby
have
could
no
also
idea.
be is the Marshmallow Man. Like
Yes,
I've seen
that was another one
Coco
too.
to be that one
Yeah,
year, and I was like, oh, I should have done that.
yeah.
So cute.
My children though have no
No
idea.
decisions.
We were trying to really rope them in, like have Lila be April O'Neil and have Lucan and Oakley be Bebop and Rocksteady. I don't know. They're from Ninja Turtles. James is a huge Ninja Turtles fan as a
Okay.
kid,
Yeah.
and the kids are not going for that. They're like, no, no, no,
Oh.
no.
Have
So
they
I don't
seen
know
the
what they're gonna
movie?
be. I think so. Yeah.
The new one?
No, no, they haven't seen the new
Oh.
one yet.
I
Um,
wanted to take Kit to it just because I was looking for a movie to take her to, but then the
you
hurricane
didn't.
came and the movie
Oh,
theater was closed, and then I never went again. Yeah, I
yeah,
never
yeah, yeah.
looked
Yeah.
again. But maybe next week. But
I feel like Oakley could end up being Sonic because they're selling a Sonic costume at Costco this year. So
oh, cute.
maybe we'll be Sonic. I don't know. When we just got manicures last week, he got a Sonic and Tails manicure. So
Oh,
it was really
cute.
cute. Yeah.
I like it.
What about you guys? Adam's family?
No, the kids aren't going for Adam's family this year, but Kit has she's gone through a few ideas so far. One has been a ghost,
Mm.
which I'm trying to steer away from.
Yeah. Sounds really hot for Florida. Yeah.
And just yeah, I don't know. What else did she think about? Ballerina. A
Easy.
monkey again, which she was
Last
already
year.
a monkey last year.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, like she kind of, but I was like, also really hot.
Did she
And
wear
then
her ballet
recently,
costume that she wore at her recital, or did you have to give that back?
no, I have that. She could wear that,
Oh my
but it's kind of
gosh.
small. I have to like maybe just not.
Reef it onto her. Yeah.
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 But I could. She could wear that if
Yeah.
you wanted. Maybe I'll show it to her as an option. We spent the money on it. Might as well wear it
Mm-hmm.
again.
Mm-hmm.
She has recently been like fixated on being Elsa and Coco being Anna,
Very common one. My
which
nieces do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Anna and Elsa, and then she wants me to be Olaf and Daddy to be Kristoff or
Or
Sven.
Sven. If you're Olaf, Daddy
So
has to be Sven.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll see how long that sticks, and then decide if we're gonna purchase those costumes.
Yeah.
But if Coco is gonna be Anna, I'm getting her a wig, like because that's
Baby
funny.
wigs are so funny.
So funny, babies
Yeah.
in wigs.
So funny. You have to draw eyebrows on her too, then, please.
For sure, with the stuff
Yeah.
that I use for mine. Make it really nice and dark for
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, who knows? It's only September something, September 6th right now as we record. So we've got
Not a lot of time.
almost
Honestly,
2 months.
we have to be real about how quickly these places sell out. Like
I
Spirit
know.
Halloween has been here for a month already, so we need to figure this out.
Well,
Everyone I
tried
know
to
is
go to
being Barbie and
Target.
Ken.
Oh, so unoriginal though.
I know, but it's the year of Barbie.
You would make
Maybe
a
it'll be
great
Taylor
Barbie
Swift.
though. It's a great
Thank
idea
you.
too.
You know who I always wanted to be with James? Zach Morris and Kelly Kapowski.
Oh, that would be cute.
Mm-hmm.
Is he not having it? That would be so fun. Like get like a brick phone.
Exactly. And he could totally rock
Like
the
do
Zach
his
Morris.
hair. Yeah.
Exactly. It's
You
just
could
we've
wear
never had
like
like the chance, you know?
yeah.
You'd have to wear like a Bayside t-shirt and like the little red shorts. It would be so fun.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
scrunchy socks.
Basically just 80s, you know, but
hair like this.
yeah. Wear my hair like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe one day.
Not today. Not this year.
No.
All right. All right. Well, you want to do some stories today?
Let's do it.
Okay. I got 3 stories for you. First one. So do I have to have a conversation? Do I have to disclose my conversation that I had with HR about my boss to my boss? So long story short, I've had problems with my boss being absent, inattentive at work, not answering important emails for weeks, and not showing up to meetings. She reports directly to our CTO. So instead of bothering him, as he does not even work at our location, I went to HR about it instead. I told them my grievances, which had been reported to them by other coworkers in the past months as well, and they informed my boss that they received a report, the details of the report, and they named me alone as the one who did so. She had a mental breakdown and cried with me alone in the conference room for about 45 minutes, which was incredibly uncomfortable. But she didn't believe that what HR told them was true. She thinks she's being gaslit by everyone and that the report was fabricated. Now my boss wants me to send to her in writing exactly what I reported to HR about her. And I feel extremely uneasy about telling her, both because I feel like it's something that should be between just HR and I, and also because I feel like seeing it in writing might make her even more unhinged, as I don't feel very safe at work as it is around her, given her mental state. Do I have any obligation to disclose that conversation that I had with HR to her? Thanks.
Ooh, I mean, I don't know like the legalities of
I don't
it.
think so. Like
I don't think you
she
legally
can
have
ask
to.
you, but I
Yeah.
definitely don't think you legally have to share anything that you shared with HR with her.
But I do think that it might be prudent to have a conversation with a third party moderator, you know, to kind of
yeah.
And I feel like that's what HR should have done. But
yeah.
Or they should have kept it anonymous, or they should have
Right.
facilitated a conversation. You know?
Right. Yeah, it feels a little weird that they told her who
said the things,
shared the grievances,
right,
and then did nothing to support that person.
Yeah.
Who's now like been named
and is now essentially being like
and works
targeted.
directly. Yeah, like she works directly for her, so that's awkward if nothing else. You know, like even if there wasn't this mental breakdown, like 45-minute conversation, it would still be really uncomfortable to work for someone who now
knows that you
basically told on them. And yeah, I think HR should have definitely facilitated a group conversation, a mediation, if you will, if they were going to not leave this anonymous. I agree that like now that it's out in the open,
there needs to be a conversation.
Yeah, there needs to be a conversation. I would ask HR or the CTO.
What's a CTO?
Chief Technology Officer.
Technology Officer. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah. So I would ask either her boss, you know, so that he's privy to this conversation as well and can advise, or HR or both to be involved in this mediation, where you can be honest in a safe space with her, because I do think she needs to understand that this is not her being gaslit and this report is not fabricated. Like that's not healthy for her to think that, because then there's no self-awareness or accountability on her part. If she like, that's honestly a red flag to me that she thinks this is fabricated, because she obviously did whatever is being reported here and is now in denial that you've shared those things. So maybe she's just completely unaware of how much what she's done has affected you or affected the team. So I definitely think that you have to communicate that to her in some way. But I agree. I wouldn't do it alone, just because she sounds a little unstable in terms of having this conversation with you.
Of course.
And being able to hear it.
Yeah. I think the best practices would have maybe been to go to her boss first.
Yeah, I think
and
so too.
say like, these are the issues I'm having. I wanted to let you know. Do you think that you can handle it? Should I go to HR? And like present it as like something needs to happen. You're her direct supervisor, because as someone's direct supervisor, I would not want to hear for the first time from HR that there's a problem. I'm like, why
Didn't
didn't
you
you come to me? You know,
Yeah, I agree. Like just because this person is off site, like it would still
it's
be
still part of their job to manage this,
right.
to manage your
Person.
manager. So
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, but
Okay.
what could have, should I, you know?
Yeah, it's done is done, but I wouldn't have brought it to HR first. But
I think
now
it's
that it
always
has been,
better. Yeah,
I still think like if you're gonna have that meeting, like bring the CTO in, like he's the one who is supposed to be managing
exactly.
her. So have that meeting with him present so that you can feel like you can have an honest conversation and not
Yeah,
be in a
vulnerable
uncomfortable
position.
vulnerable position.
Yeah.
All right. Next story is I was fired for a no call, no show on a day I wasn't scheduled. So my boss let me know today that I'm fired because I apparently no call, no showed yesterday. Here's the deal. I was not on the schedule for yesterday and it was never updated to reflect otherwise. I have a photo of the schedule for proof. I did, however, verbally let my boss know that I could work that day with no response, as well as left a note that I was available to work that day, again, with no response from anyone. He is claiming to have texted me multiple times about it, but I never received anything. Do I have a case here, or can I at least collect unemployment? I think yes, you could probably collect unemployment for being fired.
I think you can collect unemployment for any reason. Once you're fired,
You're
you
like,
know.
oh, yeah.
And I'm sure if you were going to dispute it, they would want proof of these alleged text messages.
How would you even do that? Like, because you could just delete them, right? Like,
that's the thing. Like, you can fake not receiving them by deleting them, but you can't fake sending. It's a lot harder to fake having sent them.
So the boss would just show, like, I sent these.
If the boss would show I sent them, and then you were like, I never received them, are you gonna go after your phone company? I don't know. Like,
right, like why didn't you receive them? Seems a little sus.
Yeah, it's an
Unless
interesting.
it was the wrong number. Like,
yeah,
this person messaged you before. I don't know.
Yeah, like I wonder if I'm curious about the industry because this sounds very retail hospitality. Like the schedule is made 4 hours before it begins. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
And if you weren't on it, and then but you had kind of like loosey goosey conversations, it's not on you to confirm. But personally, I would not be able to leave that open ended. I'd be like, so do you need me or not? But that's just my own. But that's not what you need to do. Like if you say you're available, but maybe your boss said if they'd said, oh, we're short, and then you'd said, well, I am available to work. Maybe they took that as, oh, they're coming in.
Working.
It sounds like a miscommunication, unfortunately. So I would hope that your boss could learn something from this. I hope that. I don't think
it's kind of extreme, like to get fired,
right,
for the miscommunication that's obviously happening, unless there's like a pattern of not responding to texts or something, and that's the way that they normally.
It does seem like there's more to the story here, maybe a little bit more to the background, but I don't know for sure. I
agree. Like communicate the close the loop. Even though like Emily's saying, like it's not necessarily your job to like close the loop, but I think it saves your ass if you close the loop more clearly next time, of like, so am I working or am I not? And how are you going to communicate if I am?
Or even saying like, I am available to work, I need to know by 3 p.m. today if you need me.
Yeah.
After that, I can't commit.
I'm out.
You know what I mean? Like, again, I don't think you did anything wrong.
Yeah.
I just think that there's lessons to be learned here about how to communicate these things, because it does sound like maybe it just got lost in translation and your boss thought you were working and you didn't get confirmation on your end. So,
yeah.
But I'm sure that you can go to and get unemployment because you were fired. And I don't know the rules, but I imagine, I think if you get fired, you can apply for it.
Right. I don't think it matters why you get fired, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, I've never been fired.
Me either. Whoops.
But I do wonder, like, do people, if they get fired, do they automatically go for unemployment, or do they just try to find a new job? I wouldn't even dawn on me to go for unemployment until I like had tried to find a job for a while and couldn't find one. But that's probably, should probably always go for it, you know, because it takes time.
It takes time too, but I think it might be like a socioeconomic thing too, of like,
If you can't, yeah.
You can't find a job, or if you know you're not gonna be able to pay the rent without unemployment, and they don't have any savings or anything,
Totally.
you know. Yeah, I think, or if they know how long it took them to find a job last time, then they would sign up for unemployment knowing, okay, it's definitely going to take me at least 6 months or whatever to get another, or a month or two, whatever, to get another job.
Because even if it takes a while to come in, you usually get like a back pay, you know, like your first payment's a lump sum. So if you apply for it right away, then the only time I've ever had to apply is when I had my children. Because you apply for like maternity leave, which is essentially unemployment benefits. We
don't have that here, so I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And you can't apply until your first day of maternity leave. Like you can't pre-apply, like even if you know I'm gonna work until
have a baby. Yeah.
You can't apply until your maternity leave officially starts. And for a lot of people too, they're using up vacation time first. So you can't apply until that vacation time is done. Like you have to be not working anymore. And then it can take 3 to 4 weeks for the money to come in. So you have to know. Plan. You have to know, like, I'm not going to get paid. And then you get a bigger chunk of money at first. But yeah, I guess it depends on the industry. If I was fired from one serving job, I would go and like resume blast the next day. And like, that's an easy industry to find a role in. Whereas some other industries are not that easy. So.
Question about Canada.
Answer.
With your maternity leave, it's coming from the government. The government is paying for that maternity leave. Are they paying like a percent of what you made at your previous or at your current quote unquote current role? And so it's going to be different for everyone, right?
It's different for everyone. So they take the average of what you made over the past 6 months. So you had to have worked a certain amount of hours in the last 6 months to be eligible for maternity leave. Basically, you have to have worked full time for the last 6 months.
Okay.
And then they take the average of what you've made ish, and then you can make up to 55%. You can make 55% of that up to a certain threshold. I think it's like it's like $60,000 a year. If you make more than $60,000 a year, you're just getting the maximum of what the payout can be.
Yeah.
So people who make 120,000 are making the same as people who make 8%. No. There's like a maximum payout. And that's if you want to do the year. And if you want to do an 18-month maternity leave, you get a smaller percentage just spread out. It's the same amount of money, but spread out over 18 months instead of 12 months.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So you have to work, which is why like entrepreneurs are not eligible for maternity leave in Canada.
Right.
Unless you decide to pay into it before you have your children.
Yeah.
So if you're family planning, some entrepreneurs would pay into it. And then when they have their children, then they can draw out of it again.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like, or you could just save your money. You know what I mean?
You don't need to pay into this thing. Just squirrel your money away. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the dads are eligible as well.
For the same amount?
Dads can take up to 15. So in total, you get 50 weeks. The first 15 weeks are only for the person who birthed the child. Because it's maternity, it's like birth after care. And then the last 35 weeks can be split between any parental figure. But it's a total of 35 weeks. I think they might have something now where dads can take 5 weeks or something like that. But like I could take 20 weeks and give James 15, which is what we did. Actually, when we had our kids, James took 6 weeks of the maternity leave at the end.
But what about,
I went back to work.
What about during those first 15 weeks? He can't take that time with you.
So he can take, if he wants to take 5 weeks, he can take 5 of those 35 at the same time that I'm taking. Okay. But then we're both making 55% of our income. And then it means we both have to go back to work 5 weeks sooner.
Right. Right.
So then like, and here there's a huge like mental, most people do, like, I'm generalizing, but the majority of people don't go back to work till the baby's 1.
Right.
Because that's just what we're used to. And so it's very rare for someone to like shorten their total time and send the baby to daycare at like 8 months. Again, it's a generalization, but
right. Because like, I'm just thinking as like very early postpartum, it's really helpful to have someone to help
with you
as the mom, like, especially if you had a C-section or something like that.
Exactly.
Like, so I was just making sure that the husband could take that time.
Yeah.
They can if they wanted.
And then it just adjusts at the back end. Right. But like for both of my kids, James took vacation time when I had the babies.
Yeah.
And then he took 6 weeks at the end and I went back to work.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I could give you a lesson about what it is here, but it will be very short.
Yeah.
It's $0.
Yeah. Which is like so unhinged to me.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense. I even think like as a Canadian, like, oh my gosh, like I wish I lived in Finland where they get like 2 years and the dad has to take 6 months and like they get full pay. Like, I'm like, that's where I feel like I should live, but
yeah. Wild. And obviously it affects the poor the most,
of course,
like that I cannot imagine. Like, I remember when I was really pregnant with Coco and we went to PDQ, which is like a chicken place over here. And I was in the passenger seat and the lady could tell that I was like very pregnant. She's like, oh, what do you do? Told her, and she's like, oh, I'm due. Like, she was very pregnant and working. And I, like, when I left that restaurant, I was like, I just can't imagine, like, she has to go back to work, like probably
go back to work like 3 weeks after she has that baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Or sooner. Right. Like, you gotta go work because you're making minimum wage. You don't have all these benefits. It's just like when the reality of where we live and how classist it is hits you. It's really sad.
It's really sad. I can't like even see people 2 months, putting maybe like friends I have where they have to go back to work and their baby's 2 months old. Like, to me, babies aren't even like awake yet, like it's just like, it's heartbreaking that like I don't know, it just boggles the mind to me how little they care for people who birth children. Yeah. And here too, you can take that time, you can apply for those 35 weeks if you adopt.
Wow, that's amazing.
So like the 15 weeks is really to recover from birth.
Yeah. So they're not giving you the 15 because like you didn't birth the human, but you still need you still need a leave
time to bond as a family. So you can take, even if you adopt a 12-year-old or a 17-year-old, you can take those 35 weeks.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm moving. But...
Okay, perfect. Gates are open.
Third and final story.
Yeah.
All right. My coworker is trying very hard, working long hours and showing up at the break of dawn. I feel uncomfortable. A coworker of mine is showing up at 6 a.m. and we don't start until 8:30. I typically try to show up between 7 and 8, mostly to prevent being late to our 8:30 a.m. meeting. This typically doesn't bother me, but they also stay past the time I leave. I show up at 7, then I'm leaving at 3. I show up at 8, then I leave at 4. If I have to work until late, then I do. But lately we have been in a slow season. They stay until 4 or 5 p.m. every single day. This means that I show up after and leave earlier. We share the same office, 2 desks in the same office, and I'm beginning to feel uncomfortable since I'm starting to feel like they make me look bad. I spoke to my direct manager and my mentor about this, and they said not to overwork and that I didn't have to show up at that time.
I'm like laughing so hard right now because this is something that I personally have dealt with for a long time. Like, I actually at Clockwork got in trouble for complaining about somebody. You don't remember this? when Julie would send messages at like 5 a.m. because she works early. And I was like, can you stop? Because it stresses me out. And you were like, you're like, no, you can just not read the messages if you're not working, you know?
Yeah. Because it was
but I was really rude about it. This was a long time ago. I have grown a lot since then, and I can admit where I was wrong, and I was wrong.
But it was like stressing you out because you're like, if they're working, I need to be working.
If they're working, I need to be working. Exactly. Like I'm not doing enough, you know, or I need to be available from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. apparently, because someone on our team is always working, you know, and it was very stressful.
It's making me look bad.
Yeah. Making me look bad. I'm not number one. If you're not first, you're last. So
what you're saying is this is a them problem.
if especially because she already did what I would do, which is talk to your leaders and mentors. And if they're like basically saying don't overwork yourself, they're saying that that person is overworking themselves. And I would be really curious, like, what are they doing? Do they, so like, here's the thing. If they have the type of work structure where maybe they like to do some work and maybe they know they're not the most focused or they're not the fastest and they are completely fine and happy with how much they're working, then it's none of your business.
Yeah.
It has no impact on you.
Yeah, like I think this is a them problem.
Yeah. If they are feeling stressed, overworked, and their attitude reflects all of those, and they're kind of like a black dark cloud in the office, then it is a discussion that needs to be had, especially if your managers have said that that's not the expectations that are set forth for you and the rest of the team. But if they're just someone who likes to show up, and maybe they show up, maybe they don't want to help do the morning routine with the kids. So they're like, oh, I got to work, you know?
I was thinking that's something's going on at home. We don't know what, right?
Maybe they don't like traffic. Maybe they want to leave earlier.
Like traffic. Maybe they don't sleep well. Maybe they need to take the city bus and it's the only time that it runs that they're going to get there on time. Maybe, you know, like you just don't really know why. Like maybe they're an insomniac right now and so a lot is going on and like this is a good distraction for them.
Yeah.
I think that this is definitely a them not the person who's coming in early.
No, it's
like
the
this
writer.
is a you problem. The writer's problem of you feeling a little bit inadequate or competitive about this.
Yeah.
And there may be more to their story, but I don't think this is a reflection on you. I think you did the right thing by going to your mentor, your supervisor, and just assuring like, hey, am I doing everything I need to be doing?
Right.
Like, am I meeting expectations?
Yeah.
Right. And you are meeting expectations. Don't worry about what someone else is doing because you have no idea what's going on in their life. And maybe this is their happy place or their distraction. Or like you said, maybe they just work a little, maybe they just want to go a little slower and that's their vibe, but that's how long it takes them to do the same amount of work that you're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Or maybe, and this is something that I'm basically like saying to myself as I say these out loud, like maybe they are exceeding expectations and maybe that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And maybe you're not in a season of life where you want to exceed expectations and that's okay. But you need to be okay with that.
Yeah. And not be trying to put it on
them. It's not their problem that maybe they're gunning for a promotion.
Like maybe if you feel inadequate for some reason.
Yeah.
That's about you, right? Like you either need to do something and change it or accept that you're not.
But if your leadership is blatantly saying like, you don't need to work 10-hour, 11-hour days to exceed expectations. Like I would ask them, like, is this what's required? Like, is this how you get promoted around here? Is this what I need to do to grow or whatever? Is that the path? And if it is, I don't think it should be. That's a bigger conversation. Yeah. But if it is, or maybe it's not, but this person is still just trying really hard to learn and do better and grow because they want more money, they want a promotion, and you don't want those things, then my therapist always used to tell me, like, why do you have to be number one? Like, what's wrong with being number 2 or number 5? I'm like, are you hearing the words coming out of your mouth? Like, but
what's wrong with being number 2? Well, it's not number 1.
It's not number 1. So as we can see, I did not come to any sort of resolution with that in therapy, but it is a question that I do ask myself all the time. Like
Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last. So.
Why can't I be number 2 right now? Do I want to be number 1? Do I want to do what it takes to be number 1 right now?
That's the question. Maybe not.
It doesn't sound like that. It just sounds like maybe this person like
maybe this person is also like not doing work during that time. Like maybe they're just using the facilities to like
Surf the
get a
internet, online
second
shop.
degree, or like, yeah, maybe they're going to take a class, or maybe
Yeah.
they're online shopping, or yeah, we don't even know if they're actually working.
Yeah.
They're just sitting in their chair.
I would be
Longer
very
than you.
curious, like
Be like,
what
you should give them an award. Congratulations for sitting in your chair longer than me. No, don't do that. But that's
Yeah.
really what you're saying is happening, because you've not mentioned anything about their performance
right.
being better than yours, or their productivity, hitting
Or
metrics,
their
better than you.
output or anything.
Like nothing is
Just that their butt is in their
performance-based.
seat longer.
Their butt is in their seat longer than you, and that's not something to feel inadequate about, right?
Yeah.
Like none of your business. No need to like be salty with them about it, but like they're allowed to have their butt in their seat longer than you if they want.
Yeah. But I do empathize, because I absolutely relate to the feeling of like, am I doing enough? Is that person doing more than me? Do I need to do what they're doing? You know, I get it. But it's not their problem. It's yours.
This is like a little bit of a different situation, but when I used to work in corporate, I used to be done, like I would be done with my work, but my boss hadn't left yet, and they would always like just stay forever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, please leave so I can leave.
Yeah. Totally.
And that I felt the pressure to just stay until they left, so that they would think that I was working longer.
And then you're doing busy work. I used to do this even in restaurants. Yeah. Like I would make up the dumbest busy work just because I couldn't leave before the boss left.
Yeah.
Because if they're doing something, there's clearly stuff to do.
Something to do, even though we clearly have different jobs.
You know, I would spend like an extra hour writing like happy birthday plaques, happy anniversary, congratulations, like out of chocolate, just to fill to, okay, they left. Okay, I'm going to leave 10 minutes after them. Like, right. So dumb. We'd have hundreds of happy anniversary chocolate boxes ready to send out. Like, it was wild.
Oh my gosh. This is a side story. We went to like a nice steak restaurant for Tyler's birthday. And like on our table, when we got to our table, like they knew we were celebrating Tyler's birthday. And when we got to the table, it had a card and it said like, happy birthday from like whatever staff. Tyler was like, oh my God, it's so nice of them. I can't believe they got everyone to like sign this like right before we got seated. I was like, Tyler, like just like bulk sign these when they have a meeting or something, or
they might order them already signed.
Yeah. He was like, wait, they didn't just like walk around and make everyone. I'm like, no, everyone is working right now. Like they're not coming over to sign your card. But it was so sweet that he literally thought that like the wait staff all just like went in the kitchen and signed that card for him 2 minutes before they put it on the table. They
might do like a pre-shift meeting where if we have 3 anniversaries and 2 birthdays, everyone quickly sign these 5 cards. But that's still a really nice touch, I will say.
Totally.
But they also might order them pre-signed, like from Vistaprint, you know?
I'll never tell Tyler that. Okay. That would break his heart. He saved it. And I was like, we're throwing this away.
Oh my God, I love him.
But you definitely brought it home.
A really nice touch. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all the stories I got.
Okay. Those are great.
Yeah.
As always.
Well,
we didn't fight though.
We got to work on that.
I need someone to submit a story that we're going to
controversial
disagree on, you know?
Yeah. Hit the boss versus the employee type of energy, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's the type of story we need, where like you're going to dig your heels in and I'm going to dig mine in for my side. So you can go to dearworkwives.com if you would like to submit a story.
Yes.
You can follow us on any podcast app that you're listening on. Please follow us and please share. When you share, shows you care, you know?
There you go.
And it just really helps us out, because we want more people to hear this podcast, and
we want to create more work cultures that don't suck. Look,
that's right. Oh, look at your shirt. More work cultures that don't
suck. Yeah. All right. And we'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.